Welcome to the another session of irrigation and hydraulic structure subject. In continuation to the previous class, in the previous lecture we have discussed about two methods. One is hydrodynamic pressure, how hydrodynamic pressure is analyzed and how it is calculated. That is what we have discussed in the previous class. In continuation to that, if the upstream surface, whatever the upstream surface is there that we are seeing here, if the upstream surface is inclined here, then what will be the impact? The upstream surface impact will be there on the material of the dam as well as water in the dam. Okay, suppose if the inclined surface is extended less than half of the, means not height, less than half of the height of the dam, then in that particular case, for the computation of CMV, for the computation of CMV, it is considered as the surface is vertical. Means inclined portion is not considered if the height of the inclination is less than half of the height of the dam. For computation of CMV coefficient or constant, it is treated as vertical surface. Okay, suppose if the inclined surface is extended beyond the half of the height of the reservoir, then in that case it is considered as overall slope is considered as up to the whole height of the dam. If it is extended beyond half of the dam, then it is considered as overall slope, whole theta is considered, and it is considered up to whole height. The inclination is up to whole height of the dam is considered for the computation of CM. Okay, constant. CM is a constant for which it is considered. Okay, now one more equation is also given here. The horizontal pressure at depth y. The horizontal pressure at depth y, at any depth we can calculate here. Here you can see in the picture, this can be calculated at any height. Okay, so in order to compute that, we have two equations, right? For force PE y, the equation is given here, that is half into pi by 4 into PE y into y into 2/3 of PE y into y. Okay, simply it is derived as 0.726 PE y into y. Similarly, with respect to this, moment MEY is also computed, that is 0.299 PEY into square, PEY square, 0.299 PEY into y square. So that is what the equation. These are the two values of force and moment if the surface is inclined beyond the half and less than half. These are the equations to be considered. Please remember this. Now moving on to next figure. Here you can see, in the figure you can see, right? One is the less than half of the dam, the inclination is less than half of the dam, and the other one is greater than half of the dam, and the middle one is moderate, actual slope of the dam. So here you can see in the picture, and with respect to that inclination, you can see hydrodynamic pressure variation curve. Hydrodynamic pressure variation curve can be obtained, and here you can see PEY force is acting at a distance where the actual inclination is given. So at that particular force, the entire PEY force is acting. The entire PEY force is acting here. So that is what it is shown here. It is exactly at where the inclination starts. So exactly at this point, this force is acting here. Okay. Now this is pressure variation due to hydrodynamic load. Please remember this picture also. Now here final values are given at the base of the dam. The values at the base of the dam are obtained by substituting the value of h. So whatever the h value we are substituting until the height, so that we can replace it with y. Means for any height, it may be at the center, it may be at the quarter, or it may be 1/3 or 2/3 of the height of the dam. So if you substitute that height, then PEH is given as CM into alpha h into WH. So here PEH is equal to 0.276 into PEH into H. So if you substitute this PE value here in the equation, that is 0.276 cm into alpha h into WH square. So that is what the equation we got for force PEH. So similarly for MEY, so it is 0.299 into cm into alpha h into WH cube. So if we replace y with h, then we will get the values of actual at any desired base, at the base. Okay, so hydrodynamic pressure. So these are the values. Till now whatever we have calculated, those values are for upstream surface. So whatever the effect, horizontal acceleration affects, earthquake acceleration affects, we have considered, that is on the upstream side. So the same equations are used for the downstream side, just by replacing the height of the dam at the upstream to tailwater height. So dam water height at upstream side is considered as capital H. So for tailwater, it is to be reduced. So tailwater height is replaced. Then we can compute the hydrodynamic pressure at the downstream side also. Means tailwater hydrostatic pressure can also be calculated by using the same equations. Okay. Now here one more important thing is, till now we have seen what is the effect of horizontal acceleration, earthquake acceleration, right, on the dam and material. So it also has an impact on the vertical component of the reservoir as well as water, tailwater. So what is the impact? Let us see here. The hydrodynamic pressure has a vertical component. The hydrodynamic pressure has a vertical component of magnitude at any section, which is given by the equation. This equation you can see here. WHV, V indicates vertical here, PE2 minus PEY into tan phi. So here WHV is the increase or decrease in the vertical component of load due to the hydrodynamic force. It may increase or decrease. So that increase or decrease can be calculated by using this particular equation. Okay. Now here PE2 is considered as total shear, whereas PE1 is considered as total shear. So PET is due to horizontal component by hydrodynamic force at elevation of the section. So at elevation wherever we are considering, so that section height is considered as PE2, whereas total shear PE1 is the total shear due to horizontal component by hydrodynamic force at which the slope starts. So in the previous picture we have seen PEY is acting where the slope is starting actually. So that is PE1, and the desired location wherever we are considering, that is PE2. So this is the shear difference values, PE1 and PE2. So phi is the angle between the face of the dam and the vertical. With respect to vertical, what is the face of the dam? Okay. Now here, right, till now we have seen what is the effect of horizontal acceleration, earthquake acceleration effect, that we have seen. It has two effects. One is inertia will be there on the body of the dam, and the second one is hydrodynamic pressure on the water and the dam. Those two we have seen. They are the two effects by horizontal earthquake acceleration. So similarly, we have effect of vertical earthquake acceleration. So what are the effects of vertical earthquake acceleration? Let us see now. See, due to vertical earthquake acceleration, the dam as well as the reservoir water is accelerated vertically upward or downward. So the water may be going upward, moving upward or downward because of the vertical earthquake acceleration. For example, hence the effect of vertical earthquake acceleration is to change the unit weight of the water as well as the material. So there may be a change. There may be a change in the weight of the water as well as weight of the dam. So this weight of the water or material can be considered as 1 plus or minus alpha V. So where alpha V is the vertical coefficient, seismic coefficient. So that can be added or subtracted depending on the conditions, whether it is going up or down. So here Wm indicates weight of the material, and here W indicates weight of the water. So to each of this 1 plus or minus alpha V is added or decreased depending on the movement of the water. It may decrease or increase the weight of the water as well as material weight of the dam. Okay. Now, to consider the effect of vertical earthquake acceleration, right? By using two equations, two methods, we can compute this one. For example, if we take seismic coefficient method, so at the top 0.75 alpha h value is 0.75, where alpha is equal to 2 into alpha naught, and at the base it is 0. So this is with respect to seismic coefficient method. Similarly, with respect to response spectrum method, we have at top same value is there, that is 0.75 alpha, and alpha value is 2 f naught SA by G. And similarly at the base, the value at the base is 0. So that is about alpha, defining alpha values by using two methods. So any one of the method may be used for computing alpha h values. Okay, so this is the effect of vertical earthquake acceleration. Now here you can see. So 2 we have completed here. Earthquake force is completed, earthquake pressure is completed. Now moving on to the next pressure, that is ice pressure. So this ice pressure is considered only at particular locations where if the dam is located in cold countries, or if the dam is located at higher elevations, at higher height, where the temperature is very, very low. So in that particular locations, the water surface is subjected to temperatures, variations in the temperatures. Means due to temperature changes, this particular water surface may be expanded or contracted. So during expansion and contraction, the forces acting on the dam from the water will vary. So in order to consider this, we need to consider the ice pressure in the design. While designing itself, we need to consider the ice pressure also in the design. So this is as per code we have 6512 1984 recommends that 250 kilonewtons per square meters ice pressure, ice load is to be considered. That amount of load is acting whenever you are constructing in cold countries. So this amount of weight should be added. 250 kilonewtons per square meter load should be considered in the design as per the code suggested IS 1984. So this load we have to consider at any cost in order to avoid failure of the dam. Okay, now moving on to the next force, that is wave pressure. So what is the meaning of wave pressure? Waves, whenever it is coming towards the dam, towards the reservoir, it will be forming a waves which may be high during heavy floods, which may be low during heavy floods. So these waves are again influenced by the wind. They are accompanied with the winds. So whenever a heavy wind is blowing, there may be high rise or in the crests we can see. So in order to calculate or determine the wave pressure, wave height plays an important role. So depending on the wave height only, we can compute the wave pressure. So how to compute the wave height of the wave? So for that we have a formulas given here. HW indicates height of the wave. It is considered as 0.0322 under root Vf plus 0.763 minus 0.271 f to the power of 1 by 4 for if f fetch, water fetch is less than 32 kilometers. If it is greater than 32 kilometers, then we can say that the formula is reduced to 0.0322 under root V into f. Here h is the height of the waves in meters, where V is the wind velocity and f is the fetch or straight length of the water expanses in kilometers. So that is what. So depending on this, we can compute the wave pressure. So here you can see the diagram also. In the diagram you can see. So let us consider this is the height of the wave HW. Okay, this is the height of the wave. So waves are coming from this portion to this side here. Waves are coming like this. It's coming like this. So whatever this triangle you are seeing here, this is the maximum pressure due to waves. So that is indicated with PW, maximum wave. So which is acting at a distance of which is acting at a distance of 1 by 8 from the still surface. So whatever the still surface is there, which is acting at a distance of 1 by 8 of the HW, and it is acting at this particular point. So here the maximum height is considered as 5/3 of the HW. 5/3 of the HW is considered as the force distance which is acting over the dam. See, here you can see this is obstructed crest is here and this is unobstructed crest. So it is coming from this way to this direction. Okay. So this is the maximum PW force. So this is the force which is acting in this direction. That is PW is equal to 2W HW square. This is the maximum amount of force. Okay. So this is the wave pressure diagram. Please remember this. So this is the approximate pressure line diagram which is representing a triangle here. So maximum intensity is PW here. PW is computed as 2W into WH square. So that is, here you can see the pressure intensity due to waves is given as PW is equal to 2.4 into W into HW. 2.4 into W into HW. Here PW is the maximum unit pressure which occurs at a distance of 1 by 8 of HW meters above the still water. Here you have seen this PW, whatever you have seen here, 2.4 into W into HW, that is acting here at this point in this direction. Okay, so this PW is acting at a distance of 1/8 of HW of the from the still surface. Okay, so for design purpose, the pressure distribution from the waves may be assumed to be represented as a triangle of height equal to 5/3 of the HW. Here you can see this height is 5/3 of the HW. This height is considered as 5/3 of the HW. Whatever this one is, 5/3 of HW is there. That is what for design purpose the distribution is assumed as a triangle with maximum equal to with the height equal to this one, 5/3 of the HW. The total pressure PW is computed is given as 2W into HW whole square. So this is what the maximum pressure, and this acts at a distance of 5 by 8 of HW, that is at a distance of 0.375 HW above the surface of the reservoir. If you take the surface of the reservoir, above that, at this distance, this PW force is going to act. Okay, so this is what the formula for calculating the PW, pressure due to waves, which is PW is equal to 2W into HW square, which is acting at a distance of 5 by 8 of the height of the wave. HW indicates height of the waves. Please remember this point. Now the last and important one, next important force is silt pressure. How the silt pressure is acting, how the silt pressure diagram is given. So the river brings the silt and debris along with it. So whatever the water coming towards the reservoir, which will bring some amount of silt and debris along with it. So this silt is accumulated at the bottom bed of the reservoir. Okay, so it is reducing and it also creates some pressure on the dam, right? So that pressure, whatever the deposited silt is there, that is creating some pressure, that is calculated by the formula given here. TS, silt pressure, is equal to 1 by 2 into gamma dash S, gamma S dash into HS square into 1 minus sine theta divided by 1 plus sine theta. Okay, so here alpha S dash is the submerged unit weight of the silt. Submerged unit weight of the silt, and here phi is the angle of friction, and HS is the height to which the silt is deposited. So these are the three important parameters by using which we can compute silt pressure. One is unit weight of the submerged silt as well as height of the silt at what height the silt is deposited, and phi is the angle of friction. By using three parameters, this formula is developed, and by using which we can compute the PS, pressure due to silt. And also, if the upstream face is inclined, again one more condition, if the upstream face is inclined, the vertical weight of the silt supported on the slope acts as a vertical force. That also considered as vertical force. It acts as a vertical force. Okay, so according to the USBR recommendations, in the design, the silt pressure is considered as a fluid pressure. So whatever the fluid pressure, whatever we are considering, that is considered as a fluid pressure. So silt is same as considered as fluid pressure. So which creates a horizontal pressure with density 360 kgs per cubic meter 2 and a vertical pressure with equal to 920 kgs per cubic meters. So 360 as horizontal pressure and 920 as a vertical pressure from the silt deposition. Okay, so thus total horizontal pressure will be equal to 180 into HS square kgs. So here HS is the height of the silt deposition. So that is 180 into HS square kgs will be the horizontal pressure, and 180 into HS square will be the vertical pressure. Okay, so this is USBR recommendation. So it is United States Bureau of Reclamation recommendations. So what about Indian standard recommendations? As per IS standard recommendations, whether it is matching with USBR recommendations or not, let us see now. See, according to IS 6512-1984, the silt and water pressure exist together. They are together. They do not act alone. Okay, so the horizontal silt and water pressure equal to that of a fluid weighing 1360 kgs per cubic meters, which means out of which water density is already considered. So which is, if we subtract 1360 minus 1000, then 360 kgs per cubic meter will be the horizontal silt pressure. Okay, in the similar fashion, if we take vertical 1925 kgs per cubic meters. So if we eliminate the density of water, this is 925 kgs per cubic meter. Okay, so this is the vertical silt pressure. So if we see this value 360 and 920 vertical and horizontal pressures, these are almost equal, closer to the USBR recommendations. In USBR recommendation we have seen 360 and 920 kgs per cubic meters. So here also 360 and 925. So somewhat it is accepting the USBR recommendations. Indian standard recommendations are coinciding with USBR recommendations. Okay, so that is about silt pressure, how to consider the silt pressure. Okay, so that is all for today's class. In the next lecture, we are going to come up with a new topic, profile of a dam. Till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day.